Well, hello everyone. Welcome. Here we are. It's Wednesday night. You knew we'd be here. We're always here, doing our thing. So glad that you could join us on a beautiful Wednesday evening, 5:30 Pacific time, here in beautiful Santa Cruz, California. That's pretty nice, man. Hey, if you'd like, you can join us here in the call, in the Zoom room. Just click on the link that I posted in the description there in the Facebook Professionals group page on Facebook, of course. And come on in. Let's chat. Let's talk about shower doors, stuff like that. It's fun. So, hey guys, how are you doing out there? Anything new and exciting happening with you?
Oh, we got a couple of meetings coming up with our suppliers to talk about supply chain issues. CR Lawrence will be in, FHC will be in. So have you guys started yet? Getting difficulty getting your typical hardware, your chrome and your brushed nickel?
Oh yeah, it's
Same
been
thing.
usually you get everything in one box. Now you get one box, and then you get another box, and another box, and another box.
Coming in from all different locations?
No, actually, it's all coming from LA.
Really?
That's where I get mine from. But then I look on their system and I see, well, I got one in San Diego. I'll have them ship it up from there.
Mm-hmm.
But the best one was the other day. I ordered a Cambridge series and a Crescent series. And I got them both.
Wow. That's good news.
Yeah, so the other day UPS comes in, they put the stuff on my table. I don't sign for it. I go out there and I go, what's that box? They sent me another Crescent series.
Oh, yeah?
On the same order number.
They sent you an extra one?
They sent me an extra one.
Well, that was nice of them.
I thought, what did I do? Hit 2 when I ordered it?
You're their 1 millionth customer?
Yeah. I guess I ordered so much, so that they threw that in as a bonus pack.
I think it was a present from Big Clips.
Yeah.
But,
they're going to bill you for 3 of them.
When I see that, I go, what did I do? Order 2? So I go up and bring all the orders. No, just one. Okay.
None of the rest of us aren't getting our stuff because you're getting extra stuff.
Yeah.
I like Jim's comment, but they're going to bill them for 3.
But you're going to be too busy to catch it.
That's good.
Seen it a million times. Not Tim, though. Tim would be on it immediately.
Well, they sent me hinges, and I go, I didn't order these. And they says, well, keep them. And I says, well, I don't use this hinge. I can use it as a door, door stop.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Christmas ornament. It's a weight. You put it on your put it over the fireplace, hang your stocking with it.
Yeah.
We have had oil rub bronze pivots on order since July. I have looked at FHC, CRL. They're nothing special. Just a top.
Do you already have the glass? Do you already have the glass? Do you already have the glass?
Yeah, I have the glass, 3/8 glass. Yeah.
Which pivot?
It's
what
the
number?
PPH?
Yes, it is the PPH
one
oil rub bronze, and it seems like that. Obviously, we talked about brush bronze last week, but this oil rub bronze pivots, for whatever reason, I can't find them anywhere.
It's just an 01? PPH 01 or?
Yes. Yeah.
Pair of those.
Why did they ship those to you too, Jim? Tim, did they ship you extra of those?
No.
Hey, look, I see Christina's on the call. That's who we were just talking about a minute ago. We were like, oh, where is Christina? We missed her.
Together.
Yeah.
Bam! There she is.
There you go. Look at that.
Yeah.
You ask, you shall receive.
Yep.
Mike, if you send me your hinge notch, I'll see if our pivots will fit that for you.
Hey, you know what? They will.
I appreciate that.
Will it
They
fit?
will. I'm using the standard PPH 01, whatever, cutout, and I'm using Bill's hinges. They work fine. The cutout's a little big.
Yeah.
But that's okay. It gives you plenty of adjustment. I've had no problems with that.
Yeah, Bill's pivots his cutout is just a little smaller than the standard CRL cutout.
Right.
it still works.
Yep,
So
it works just
have,
fine.
if you have stock glass, Mike, and you want to make it happen and get the job done, just send me an email.
Thank
Bam,
you.
bam.
Appreciate that.
Hey, what is your oil rub bronze finish like? Does it match is it as dark as like CRLs?
I can't answer if it's dark by CRLs because I don't buy them, so I don't have something to compare it to.
Is it real dark, like almost black?
It's like a Duralon. It's a Duralon powder paint.
CRL's
It's
bronze.
not
black. You can almost interchange it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I bet you it would work, but worst case scenario, what else are you doing with that? Is it a single door, or you got to match it up to clips or channel?
It's a single door, and I got a buttress inline next to it.
Okay, and
So-
what's the inline being held with?
I got a U channel on the inline, and it's a pivot to header application.
To a header. Okay, so we'd have to see if it matches your header. I
Well,
mean, if you need the whole system, I can cut you channel and header and get you all done on that job.
You're gonna want to
Thank
go
you.
full. You're gonna want to go full Bill stash on this one. I'm feeling like.
You would need your header anyway to use your pivots.
Well, you can modify it, but yeah, it'd be easier.
I mean, yeah, might as well. You're going that far, right?
Right.
I mean, Mike, if you want me to crack the system and reroute you some hardware like I did for Tim, just send me a private message.
Exactly. It's a wheel and deal here, man. Come on.
The puppet master right here.
I
So
love
I'm
that.
on
appreciate
Sierra
the
Lawrence's
offer.
website for the PPH01, and they got 6 of them in Florida.
Yeah, that's a likely story. You know, I had these really nice customers, this really nice couple who want steam shower door. So just the door. But all of their existing stuff, fixtures, are white. They're like, man, we don't want to change all of our fixtures. Can you get this stuff in white? I'm like, oh, we'll figure something out. I mean, we'll make it happen one way or another. So I got on shows online. I modeled it up in there, and then I just sent I requested custom color for white. They want a towel bar combo, like a 22-inch towel bar combo, and like a couple of Geneva hinges, right? So so you can send it right over to CRL to get a quote from them. And so I did that. So they sent me back a quote like the next day. It wasn't too bad, and the quote wasn't that terrible. But I responded to their quote and asked them, so how much time are we looking at? They said, 3 weeks, without shipping. I'm like, and she's like, do you want to order? And so I was like, yeah, I did, but they had put 2 towel bars and 2 hinges, and I don't want 2 towel bars combos. I just want 1. So I responded to the email. This was a week ago. I responded to the email and said, yes, I do, but I only want 1 towel bar, not 2. 1 towel bar, 2 Genevas. So then I didn't hear anything back. So a couple of days later, I responded to the same email and I said, hey, did you see this email? And then a couple of days later, I still hadn't heard anything. And then it was the weekend. So then like Monday, I'm like, are you getting my emails? And I copied like showers at CRL. Still nothing. So now I spent like a week. I was like, oh, it's going to take 3 weeks to get these. So apparently it's going to take me 3 weeks to get the order. So it's like tomorrow, I guess I'll call them and like put the order in, through the system. But it's like she probably quoted it and then went on vacation.
Brian and I met with our mirror company today, the salesman. Guy's so full of shit. He comes in. Oh, we got all kinds of mirror. We're bringing in 7 truckloads a week. And we've been doing it for 3 weeks.
That man press.
I hear it.
So Brian ordered some mirror. I go, now when will we get those? Oh, you'll probably have them in a couple weeks. So he left, and I called the girl. I said, Jimmy was just in here. And what did he tell you? No, we don't have any mirrors at all. And he goes, you might get them in February. I mean, oh my God. It's just, yeah. Oh my God. Because we're so backed up, it's just stupid,
Yeah, it's crazy out there. I mean, that's just,
we've got some.
it's like a total crapshoot.
Like I I ordered a PPHO2.
Mhm.
You know, it comes back, you know, 1st of January. So I go on their other branches, and they had 2 in Kent, Washington. So I called, and the guy took it off my order. He says, I'll order it. Then never saw it. So I called again, did it again. There's one left, and I got it. You know,
It's like winning the lottery, right?
well, yeah,
Yeah.
you just have to look at their other locations, and 'cause I don't care where it comes from. I just want it. You know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, when you need it, you'll pay the freight, right?
Well, yeah, the guy at Sierra Lawrence says, well, it's going to be extra charge. I says, I don't care. Just send it to me. I shouldn't have to call you. You know.
So now, Bill, it sounds like you're having a powwow. Are you having it at your location? They're all coming in to see you?
Yeah, well, they've got area reps. So
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. Well, all the guys I saw at the glass show, they're all coming around. But we on the manufacturing side, we know that we're going to have a monster November. We've already been warned by a few of the guys that are ordering, and we've been selling them hardware also. So we just got to make sure that they have hardware for their projects. Now we'll sell CR Lawrence hardware to them, you know, because as a temper, you get a better discount, allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, we got to supply a lot of our guys that we sell glass to hardware also. So we keep our hardware for our jobs, and then we sell on the D3 end, we'll sell out whatever they want for hardware.
Right. Other people's hardware.
Yeah. What they would have ordered from whoever.
Yeah.
So I just got to make sure they have it.
Yeah.
Hardware has become a real problem.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Country. So what else? What else we got?
Crazy.
Problem?
Well, you know, I was thinking about the other side of the coin, which is help. You know, I was just curious how people are doing. I know that's been an issue getting, you know, labor. How are you guys doing with that?
I think we're all under issues, but we're just trying to be as creative as possible. Right now, it's if you got guys, you got to keep them. So we've been increasing pay randomly just to keep them in-house and trying creative stuff to have more Saturdays or any extra hours also. In Florida, you get overtime only if you work 40 hours. So let's say it's a holiday weekend, and you give them a paid holiday on Monday, that's not physically working. So they'll get regular pay Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And if I ask them to come in Saturday, they won't work because it won't be time and a half because they got the holiday pay. So now we're paying them time and a half to work that Saturday just to get caught up. I mean, right now we're booking for Christmas week. And I've got 10 crews going out every day, and we're already booking to Christmas. So it's pretty busy.
Your price high enough, Bill? That's
my line.
I had to beat you to it.
Obviously not, but you know, I got to the point where I don't want to gouge people, but I mean, we're priced where we're making a good margin, right?
Well, I'd always forget your busy season is winter, whereas the rest of us for a lot of summer, and that was just it's crazy.
But it's true. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of validity in what you said, and we've already been down that road. And I say about 2 months ago, we did do an increase, but that was just to cover the hardware, the shipping, the glass increase. Probably could go up again to try and soften the workload, but everything is coming at us. You know, everybody's coming to Florida.
Yeah, it's important to clarify too. I think that question's valid when people say they're busy, but they have product. The supply chain, that becomes a relationship management with customers, like we talked about last week. And instead saying, if you want it faster, here are some other options. So just to clarify, people coming in, that's not always the first question. That's a good question for someone who their labor is maximized, but if you have a product issue, I mean, it's really important to look at your business carefully and see what's causing the delay.
Yeah.
I have a general question regarding labor to you guys. So if you find somebody, obviously that's one challenge, but once you get somebody on, what's your process for onboarding and what are your expectations to have a guy be able to install shower doors? Obviously, we all know that if it's a single door, that's one thing. But then you start getting door notched inline panel return or a double notch. I guess my general question is, what's your process for onboarding somebody, and when do you feel like, or what is a reasonable time frame to expect them to start being a pretty good contributor on installations?
I can help. I can start off with what we do, and I think Brandon's on the line. He's got a lot of crews. We're fortunate we have our own in-house training program. So when we onboard guys, they do not go into a customer's home until they've gone through 2 full weeks in our in-house training. We start off with sliders, then we go into single door and panels, door panels, then we get into door notch panel returns, all in that 2-week period. They're measuring it, installing it. We already have the glass sitting there for the vignettes that we have built, caulking it, removing it, reinstalling it. They will never be out on their own for at least a year. They will be with somebody, but all of my crews are that way. That's how we grow. That you become a helper, and we have levels. So it's called skill-based pay. They get paid based on your skill level, and the skill level is level 1 is sliders and a single door. They get to level 2 and are able to do door panels, everything in line, and then start doing a neo angle and a door notch panel return. Then you start getting into out of squares and steam showers and 4-piece, 5-piece customs. Then they move up levels. So, and they get tested constantly by our installation manager, both math tests to know their fractions. So if they're out in the field and a piece of metal is 9 7/16 and the guy says take a quarter off, he wants to see if he knows the math to know what size that needs to be cut at. And
that's 8.5, isn't it?
Yeah, right. For some people, measure once, cut twice,
and then walk it in.
Yeah.
Cut this thing 3 times and it's still too short.
We can file that, and then we got caulking, right?
And level 9 skill level is a Home Depot knockdown 3/16 full frame.
Yeah. Put that one in with the loose screws that are laying on the bottom.
That scares them away right away and see if they're worth sticking around.
So that's our onboarding process, and they get tested on more than just their skill of doing doors. It's customer interaction, like Jim was talking about, relationship management, how to address the customer, be conscientious of their driveway, their flooring, their pets. Where do you set your things down? Never put their tools up on the countertop, always on the floor. It just all these things that we've worked out over the years. So they go through a pretty good training process, but we were never that way, Mike. I mean, this is only over the last 3 years we've been doing that. It takes a while to build to that point where you can have the time to have somebody train like that.
So you have little booths, if you will, within your shop, in your training area, where they can actually install a door.
Oh yeah.
And panel, all these things.
There are 4 of them set up right in a row. Yeah.
So all the holes are drilled, they just drill back into them?
No, I bring a tile guy on and replace the tile after each crew. That's true. I do.
Well, yeah, you have to. I mean, yeah.
I do. Yeah, we've got a set of shelving there, so all the tile and backup tile is there, the mortar, the grout, so that gets redone.
Yeah.
So they're not cheating and using somebody else's holes. Yeah.
So how about where they place the door on the jamb? Is it a set deal or?
Well, we were talking about disclaimers last week on our paperwork, right? One of it is the door will always be centered on the threshold unless otherwise noted. So they get taught to center it on the threshold. So they'll tee off the threshold, find the center point and go from there. That's the center of the glass.
But what about the slope to the?
Well, if it's
maybe if you put a sweep on the bottom, if you put it to the center,
yeah.
How do you compensate for the sweep not dragging the, off
the sweep gets adjusted at the end. I thought you were talking about what you're doing in line.
Yeah, he's talking about training his guys in the shop.
Yeah, well, we'll set the door up on setting blocks, make sure the top of the door lines up with the adjacent panel.
Oh, yeah.
lock it in. If the panel has to come down, if we're in channel or if we're in clamps, we can reduce that a little bit. You
Yeah.
can't do too much in clamps, but you got a little bit to play with. But we always make sure the top of the door lines up.
Well,
And
yeah.
if it doesn't, I got a polishing machine 30 feet away. We don't shave the door, we repolish it.
Make it really shiny.
Yeah,
So,
really shiny.
hey, so Bill, do you guys do, how does your commission structure work? Is it varied by skill level or is it a production based? How do you do that extra incentive, if any?
Explain what you're asking. Explain it. It's not commission. Okay, so
There's a
that's
big faux pas. Yeah, there's a big
skill-based
faux pas. Okay, skill-based pay, right? But do you do bonuses based on production? Do you have production standards, numbers of install?
We have a matrix that they have to fall within, so that we've already allocated in our time matrix. For instance, door and panel, it's going to take them an hour, but if it has a removal, then we add a half hour. If it's in a high rise, we add a half hour, right? So they have a 2-hour window to do that in. But I mean, they're still getting paid by the hour. We're just allocating for our costing what that's going to cost us to get 2 guys there to get that job done, right? And these guys have to be within that matrix, unless there's a reason like the tile cracked and they had to go buy something or replacement tile or something like that. But for the standard jobs, we have this full matrix, and the guys are 95% within that matrix, which is good. And
Do you
acceptable.
guys send out I don't know what you call it, sales rep or whatever to or lead measure guy? Say you have calls for 10 enclosures around town. Do you have one person that goes around, gets the measurements, is able to develop a design, and then you have when your customers pay their deposit, obviously it's time to schedule, a separate install crew goes behind that person and installs? Is that
Yes.
typical?
Yeah. Yes, that's exactly what we do. The sales guys are for sales, order taking, processing. We have a staff that once the order gets in, then they start generating the accounting and the actual purchase orders. Or in our case, I have the hardware in stock. So they're doing the job ticket for the guy in the warehouse to start pulling that hardware and assigning it to that job number. The glass, I've got 2 guys that are doing glass deductions all day long, and they're doing the purchase order for D3 to make the glass. So we'll have that ready to go by the time the installation crew. And that's where it's really important to have your processes and procedures in place, so that there's a standard, so any crew can do it if that particular job is within their skill level.
Mhm.
So a level 4 guy can do anything, but a level 1 guy is limited to sliders and single doors.
Do you guys incentivize your salespeople?
Yeah, big time.
A commission-based type thing?
Yeah, they get a salary and then a commission. So each store has a sales number that they should achieve for the month. Yes, it's also based on gross profit margin, so that in the event that they're measuring incorrectly, the company doesn't have to take the hit for everything. So it makes them conscientious of clear writing on all the numbers on their takeoff sheets, and taking a look at other situations. So if they sold the door to a builder friend that didn't have the toilet in place, and we go to install it, and they swing the door out and it hits the toilet and everything is no good, that gets charged to that job. That increases the cost of goods sold, and it reduces their gross profit margin, right? So therefore, they have a sales number to hit, but they also have a gross profit margin to hit. To simplify it, if I told the store that they have to sell 100,000 a month, well, that wouldn't do me any good if our costs are 100,000 a month, right? So my cost has to be within the gross profit margin that I need to achieve to be able to pay all the bills before I can start paying out bonuses. So we've calculated our break-even point, so what we have to do to cover our costs, and then we split the profits with the guys.
Many of our Big Clips users, we can calculate gross profit on the go. So that reports to the dashboard on the daily. And that's a really great way to drive your sales team, both by percentage or by hard dollar amount, because you don't take percentages to the bank. My grandpa used to teach me, and take dollars to the bank. That's a little more advanced, but I agree with Bill that if you're not watching gross profit and know your gross profit number, and I don't know if you guys listen to the podcast, it's super important that keeps the overhead. So if you don't do that now, it doesn't have to be big clips. It could be, any tool you want to use, but it's really important to articulate that to your sales team. Just someone who's trained a sales team for many years, they like that. They like that challenge a lot.
You know
Makes
what I
them more
found
creative.
over the years, Jim, when you emphasize it to your sales team and you show them, I mean, we've had classes so that they understand what the gross profit margin is, and that they know it's the involvement of all of your costs involved and your time. Then they're more conscientious over it. And I saw our gross profit margins increase when we focused on that. Whatever you focus on will increase. If you want to focus on reducing your amount of incompletes and you have enough training, you will reduce your incompletes. The guys will be more conscientious, and the installers will work harder to get these jobs that normally they would walk away from. They'll find a way to get the job in. So if that's what the focus and the emphasis and the training and the leadership is all about, your team will rise to the occasion. And then you got to reward them for it. You got to reward them for it.
And keep in mind, not everyone's great at math. And so one thing we used to do that was really helpful, me included, is to take $100 and take the $100 and break it into $10 bills, a few fives, and then make it very simple for people. Say for the $100 shower door, these are the costs for the lights. These are the costs for the insurance. This is for the people. Just break it out on your real P&L, just simplify it and show them that that's where they get their cut. And that really helps to take the bigger numbers like $100,000 a month shop and break it into $100. And for whatever reason, that exercise has always landed very well on our technicians and our sales teams.
It really does. It's funny, for many, many years, all the company financials were kept really tight and closed, and nobody really knew. And the installers say, oh, these guys are making so much money because they're bringing the checks in, but they're not on the other end writing the checks out to pay the rent, pay the insurance, pay the vehicles. They don't see the other end of it. But when you start sharing that, and it's written in it, there's a great book out called The Great Book of Business, and it's how you share that information with your employees. You'll find that they'll rise to the occasion and they want to be part of a successful business. And it's not as awkward as you would think about showing the financials.
Actually, far better. It breaks up a bunch of stigmas, and it breaks up a bunch of water cooler chatter, we call it, or dumpster chatter. And so I second that big time. We've always had a full open book, even to what the company's profit is. I mean, it's just, everyone doesn't have to subscribe to that, but it's really helped get buy-in and longevity and better retention.
Yeah. And
then you're naturally training up potential future store managers. You're training up potential future business operators every day, every week at your meetings. It's really important because then you can quickly see the people that care about it are generally the ones you're watching to say they might be in a good leadership role.
I'll give you a great example. I've got a guy that's an operations manager. He used to be an installer, and he's really smart, but we needed him to fill a role in the company, and that was the accounts payable role, which, generally it's an office staff. After he did that role for about 6 months, he was the best person to ever have in purchasing because he could see the amount of money that went out of the business. And then he was extremely conscientious of ordering caulking and tape and all the stuff that the guys throw in their truck. And you cringe when you go to the dumpster at night, you see good stuff getting thrown out.
Oh, yeah.
This guy's like a hawk now looking out for the company because he knows what it's like cutting the checks on the other end and buying this stuff. It's great exercise.
So another question, going back to this labor, and I appreciate all that input on the onboarding, and it sounds like it's a wonderful procedure, but are most of your crews two-man crews? I know you guys do a lot of heavy glass doors, and our big thing is heavy glass doors too. And I see on some of the websites, and a lot of guys like to brag, I do it myself. Chris, you work by yourself quite a bit, but handling that heavy glass, to me, these things are two-man installations or two-person installations, and for safety, for the well-being of the guys. I know there's added cost because it's added labor, but It seems to me that a lot of these enclosures carrying up stairs, in elevators, whatever it might be, are typically 2-person installs. Is that, I guess, a consistent thought with you all, or am I missing something?
With
I agree.
me, it's everybody. Every crew is 2-man. Every crew.
Yeah.
If it's big jobs, I'll send a third guy to help, like
Mhm.
our supervisor, or send 2 crews, especially if it's a big heavy piece going up on a half wall. So it's really, you got to lift it all the way
Yeah.
up and it
Right.
becomes top heavy. We'll send 2 crews, but I don't send anything single unless it's a repair or a service call.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think everybody's that way. I don't know if anybody's different other than Chris.
Yeah, I think that's pretty standard. I mean, I'm definitely the exception to that.
Well,
Yeah,
we've got
what are you doing on big customs? Aren't you getting somebody to help you?
He uses the clip setter by Shower Showcase.
Yeah, I make tools. I make tools for that.
That's true.
And so, what I do is when it gets just too big for me to handle, I just tell people, hey, I work alone. That's just outside of it has to get pretty big. But the one thing that I found is that for me, if I can get the glass into the bathroom, then I can usually set it by myself. It's not a big deal. So I have a buddy who owns a moving company. They move furniture and stuff. So if I've got something that has to go upstairs, it's going to take 2 guys to get it up into the bathroom. I'll hire them to help me move the glass. So basically, it's all like legit above board. They're doing what they're designed to do. They move stuff. So I'll just have them help me move it. But if it gets so big that it's like that's not enough, I just say no.
Yeah, I just find everything like just from walking in the house, the other guy's opening the door so the screen door is not slamming behind him and ripping his screen or hitting the edge of the glass, or going up the stairwell where not dinging the wall. I just think that it stabilizes the other end of the glass. And why put a risk and all the weight of one guy hurting his back? Like,
I couldn't agree more. I absolutely agree with all that. I mean, that's what I have found so interesting about this group. I'm learning these little tidbits. I keep thinking, am I doing something wrong? But, we're 99.9% of the time, it's 2-man crews, sometimes 3, sometimes 4, depending on the panel. So I'm just trying to, I guess, legitimize the way I'm doing a few things here. So.
One of the things you could learn from this, Mike, is that some of these tools that Chris designed and sells are really helpful, even with 2-man crews.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of these things that we bought. The rollers, they're like a roller hockey wheeled skateboard to put the glass on and roll it in. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It really does a good job. And then when you're done, it just disassembles and it doesn't take up a lot of room like the big skateboards used to in your truck. Mm-hmm. Some of the stabilizers for your vertical glass with the suction cups, it just frees up your hands to do other things instead of always having to hold it. So it does make it become more efficient.
No, I had a guy that worked for me, and we always had 2-man crew, and he decided to go to where they thought the grass was greener, to another shop. And their attitudes was, if you can lift it, you put it in by yourself. He never got any help.
The glass is always greener on the other side, man.
Yeah. That's what the guy's saying, a low iron glass. The glass is always greener.
And he went to work for this company. They have a shop in Monterey. They have a shop over in Hollister, which is half hour, 45 minutes away. Because sometimes we send our guys over there. Well, guess what?
That's where he went.
He went over there, and then they finally just phased him out. And I could have told him that before he left me.
Did you take him back?
No.
Oh, just asking.
No.
I know I'm asking.
What's your thoughts about taking people back?
But his ex-wife does my bookkeeping now.
Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
I know I'm asking a lot of questions tonight, but I'm trying to steal a lot of gems of wisdom.
I like it. I like that you're asking a lot of questions. That's good.
Yeah.
In terms of your crews, so I have 14 technicians, and we're a very store. I don't just do shower doors; it's commercial storefronts and things like
everything.
that. But Do you maintain the consistency with your crew? In other words, if Joe and Steve are the crew, do they typically work together all the time? And I guess I'll end my question with saying that I have guys that say, listen, if you let us, the chemistry's better. I'm thinking what he's thinking what I'm thinking. We go faster, it's more consistent. So I guess the question is, do you maintain the consistency, or do you have a lead guy who's responsible and you can stick anybody with him?
Great question. It brings up so many things. Look, I don't want to be the one hogging here. So if anybody else can talk, I'll talk if you need it.
So well, Bill, we're just listening.
Yeah. Well, Brandon,
Bill's got some answers. That's for sure. It's like Mike's got questions. Bill's got answers.
I got answers, but I don't want to be the only one here.
To touch on the pay scale and all that, I do the similar thing as Bill. Is I have a tier system for all my guys, and they know when they got the test stuff. But to touch on this 2-man crew thing, I've done both. We've switched it up where we wanted helpers to work with different guys, just so guys didn't get comfortable with that helper all the time, where maybe this guy's having issues and the helper's just covering up his mistakes, and we can throw a different helper with them to see how things are happening in the field. But also we do put guys together, try to keep them long-term together, because if they work well together, we get more production out of them. And they just have better attitude when they come to work. If they come to work working, I got to work with this guy today now, and then the whole attitude changes, the day's ruined and everything. So I've done it both ways, and we've kind of stuck with keeping the same helper with the same lead guy. So
usually, if you have a helper, he learns what that guy wants done in every job. He knows what you bring into the house and everything else.
So
Mike,
the other part of that, and Brandon, I couldn't agree more with you. And we've done the same thing. The benefit of mixing them up, though, is if you have your ear to the ground, you start hearing things like, well, he doesn't exactly do it that way. He does this. That's how I start finding out they're varying from the process that we've set up. They thought they could do it better themselves. Then you can get a heads up. Well, wait a minute. Why are you not doing it that way? Like if you're doing a door notch panel return, and some guys will start at the return panel. Some guys are starting with the inline, the notch panel, to lay it out, leave the space for the door, figure out your space from the back. Some guys will set that first panel in the front, the notch panel first, and calculate the distance from the back for the return panel. Other guys do the return panel first. And, I like to keep a consistency so that every crew is together. So no matter who we put together, they're all doing it the same. So when I start getting feedback, and that's why we'll mix them up, just to get that kind of feedback to see if they do it the same.
Yeah, Fred did this way and Joe does it this way.
Yeah.
We still switch ours up here and there. We just don't do it as frequent. We'll do it like every 3 months or every 6 months. We'll switch guys up instead of, every day or every week or something. So.
Yeah. And then depending on how much paid time off you're giving them too, you've got one guy's got 3 weeks vacation. So that helper's got to work with somebody else for at least 3 weeks out of the year, never mind sick days or whatever else happens. So I don't want them to get too comfortable always doing that, because when they get comfortable, they get into bad habits. And as a team, they think they can spend a little more time at Burger King or wherever they want to stop. So I like to mix them up a bit.
Hey, Christina, it looked like you were saying something. Were you? I did, but I couldn't hear you.
You're muted, or you're.
I still can't hear you. You're not muted, but I can't hear you. Shucks.
She's good. Sign language.
There's only a couple signs we know, so don't use all of them.
I know that one. She's good.
Mike, I can give you kind of an alternate perspective on it. We're nowhere near as polished on our end, so I don't think that there's necessarily right and wrong ways to do the process, but I do think there's better ways for sure, and a lot of those we're not doing. So I've not experienced being in someone else's space and learning how anyone else does it. I just kind of had to go from the hip as we grew our shower business from a single guy who had the intelligence to start learning the frameless installation with guidance and working, directly with me, to 6 to 8 guys doing it. So I don't have a training program. It's more, we try to bring in young guys if we can. They started out as a helper. There's no dead time in between. They're just, because usually we're filling. We used to like to have extra guys, but that just we haven't been fortunate enough to do that for a few years now. So they'll go right into a position typically as a helper. And we do switch them up. I used to keep guys together time they came in to the time we moved them to a lead position. But having younger guys in, I wanted them to learn from each different lead guy. Mostly because I kind of carry like an A team, a B team, and a C team, kind of like your tiers. But my lead guys that have been doing it longer are able to install a more difficult enclosure. So I want each of my younger guys, my helpers, to learn from each of those crews. So we do switch it around. We're always running 2-man crews. I'm always playing with different ways to do it, because you look at profit margins and what can I do to make more money, just bottom line. But I also look at the liability. It is glass. What if something happens and the guy's on a job site by himself? We've had a few blow ups over the years that can get messy. And if nobody else was there, it could turn into a much worse situation. So that's always a consideration. So yeah, I would love to think I was on Bill's level with the cleanliness and the polished process, but I don't have the in between, between that. I'm usually always trying to fill a position, especially the last 2 or 3 years. It's always get a guy, put him on a truck. Where we used to try to carry an extra 2 guys to cover when guys were out or vacations, where they start learning how to cut in the shop, and then they go out on a truck, and it was kind of a very progressive process. Now it's just get them in, get them on a truck, learn as quick as you can from the lead guy ahead of them. So it's not the cleanest process, and I would love to get better, but it is functional. And we take our younger guys, and they tend to learn a little faster. And we've got some good ones right now that if I could pick up 2 more, I would probably start another crew, but I've got to fill those spots. So, so yeah, it's no right or wrong. You just kind of do it the best you can do it until you find a better way, or you listen to other guys who have more experience, and you try to steal what you can with the amount of hands you've got.
Well, that's one thing I appreciate so much about this group. For when I bought my business, I didn't know anything about glass, and that's a long story. I won't bore you with the details, but I felt like everything was trial and error. I made phone calls, tried to learn everything I could on my own, but I felt like I was on this island, and certainly learned by all the mistakes you made and try to eliminate them in the future. But so I'm like similar to you, Billy. I don't have this polished program like Bill does, and I'd love to get there. It's kind of a goal that we're striving. So I'm always time playing too. But what I'm hearing from you guys is I'm probably more like you, but I guess you develop what works and try to repeat that if it is what works. But I mean, I've only been on these calls for I think maybe 5 weeks. And I'm telling you, I've got pages of notes of things that you guys have shared, and gals, you guys have shared. And I just find this so valuable to me. I'm sorry it wasn't 17 years ago.
Well, it's funny you say it, Mike, because there was a few young guys on here. Chris was teaching the layout course, and he had a few young guys on here, and they were really involved, and then they just seemed to fall off the face. But man, if I was their age, I'd be on this thing every single week.
Every week.
I'd be texting guys all during the week, asking them questions.
Yeah.
But I'm not ignoring anybody. I'm trying to find Christina a picture to send her, but so I'm looking on my phone for something. So I'm sorry if I'm looking down.
Now, that's some great stuff. Wow, what a great topic to talk about. So when you are kind of short of labor, there's only a couple of things you can do, right? You can become more efficient with the help that you have, or you have to stop doing something. that you have been doing so that you've got more labor to spread around. Is there anything that any of you guys have stopped doing that you used to do, just because you're finding it more valuable to use your help to do something else, or to kind of focus in more on certain things, anything like that?
Yeah, commercial work.
Gotten away from that?
Yeah, mirror work.
We did that up to about the 80s. And then it died, and we went back to residential. And I mean, we still do we do commercial repairs and everything else, but we got out of the storefront business.
Yeah, I've gotten away from doing mirrors. Of course, again, it's just me, so
Yeah.
I can't handle a very big mirror. But mirrors are like, I mean, if you're tooled up to just do mirrors all the time, you could really make some money at it.
Yeah.
But you almost have to be in order to. I mean, unless you really can bang those things out, it's hard to make money on mirrors.
Back we used to do mirrors. We used to stock them, cut them, drill them, polish them, and everything else. Now we don't stock anything. We just order it all out.
I just had this conversation the other day with my dad. My dad's 68, so he's been in the glass business pretty much his whole life. I actually call Tim's the West Coast version of my dad. So
I'm a little bit older.
We've done everything, in the glass industry for a bunch of years. And I told him the other day, I said, the battle I have is in the 70s, you could do showers and you could do tear outs and you could do mirrors and you could do commercial work because there was 2 or 3 options in each set. If you're doing showers, you had a frame shower and a slider. If you're doing commercial work, you had fin tubing, or just wood installs. More basic stuff. You didn't have 75 low E options and every type of insulated you can think of, and double thermal, single thermal. Every curtain wall. You didn't have all this. Nowadays, you can run a singular business off of all of these factors if you want to do that. And that's the battle we're having, is we're doing 1,000 things, and how well are we doing those 1,000 things versus we do 2 things and we do them really well. And that's the battle I have. And it's not a battle. It's just a discussion I have with my dad all the time. We stopped doing tear outs pretty recently, residential window tear outs and replacing
retrofits. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, retrofits. Bad IGs in windows. We'll let them bring them into our shop because I have a shop guy there all the time, but we don't go on site and do them anymore because, between all the different window companies, they all manufacture their windows slightly different. They use a different adhesive. You're tearing up wood stops and you're having to go back and replace, and it turns into a nightmare. Now you can make money. You can make really good money at it if you have guys that are good at it, but if they're not good at it, you can lose a lot of money in a hurry.
When what we call retrofit came out, I did a few, and I said, no, I don't want to do this. Then along came, Milgard sold, was selling to Home Depot. You can buy all that stuff. So we just got out of it. We just replace when Milgard fails. And that's quite lucrative,
And we just got out of this in the last 12 to 18 months.
No, we don't even sell windows.
What's that?
We don't even sell windows.
No, we don't sell windows either. We have access if we need to,
we used to sell Milgard, and then they sold to somebody and they said, well, you got to sell X amount of dollars a year, have a showroom. So fine, we're not going to do it. Now it's Milgard, you have to sell over $100,000 worth of windows a year to be a dealer. That's the latest.
That's the battle. You're talking about getting out of stuff. I could run a mirror company. I could run a retrofit tear out company. I could run a shower door company. I could run a commercial single level company. I could run a multi-level high rise commercial company. But nowadays, I feel like they're all their individual business. That's the battle. And
like here we have
people to do it. So
we have the old Fort Ord out here, and they built all new housing and they put Milgard windows in. Those suckers fail right and left, and Milgard won't replace them because it's a commercial. So that keeps us busy. quite well.
Really, I couldn't agree more with you. I think I've alluded to this on previous calls, but I do this after paint work. I know I talked to you about it briefly, Bill. I'm at a point now where those contract renewals are coming up, and I've done them for 14 years, and I say, okay, they want to give me $650 for a shower door, a framed shower door and inline panel that we got to travel sometimes 18 to 20 miles to go do. And my profit margin is thin. And when you get there, the tile's not done and they don't want to do a change order. So, but then I look at the, and then you go, okay, if I gone up there to do a door and panel heavy glass, I would have made X dollars, would have taken, hour and a half or so to do. And maybe we can do 3 of them in a day. And we blew past that profit margin. So I have the same internal battle with myself about what do I eliminate? Do we focus on just the most profitable things and just get good at those? I share those same sentiments. It's a daily, daily tennis match in my mind.
Trust your instincts. That's your Jiminy Cricket talking to you, and it's really counterintuitive and it's hard at first to do this, to let go of stuff like that. And it was really hard for me to convince my wife, early on. I was like, you know what? I think we should just stop doing that. And she's like, what, are you kidding? How are we going to say no to a customer? And you don't want to do it. But I find that the more I say no, the busier I get. I mean, if I start saying no to everything, I'm not going to have any time left, I don't know how it works, but it just kind of does, and the kind of work that I really want to do comes my way. And I started realizing, man, I'm going out doing these frameless shower doors, and they've become so easy for me to do and so profitable. And then here I am going out doing one of these manufactured frame doors, and it's taking me forever. Everything goes wrong. They leak like crazy. It's like I really don't even have an excuse, for why they should leak. They really shouldn't. But they're worse sometimes than frameless doors, and
oh yeah.
It's just like the more I say no to the stuff that's not profitable, that other stuff will come. It's weird. But it does.
The way I looked at it was, what is something that I do that I don't like doing or that ruins my day or pisses me off, to be honest? And window tearouts was that. Replacing IGs and trying to figure out all the 100,000 different versions of residential windows drove me crazy. So I said, well, I simply don't want to do that because it ruins my day. It throws a wrench in my process. And also, if you get to a point where you feel like something else is going to slow down, and this is always the mental battle, is if I get rid of that and this slows down, I don't have that anymore. It will always be there. Window, for me, mirrors are not going to go away. Residential window replacement is not going to go away. So if I need to go back to that at some point, I put it back on my website, I do a little bit of advertising, and here we go again. Mm-hmm. So that's what I've had to reiterate to myself and other people is, yes, we're getting rid of something. We've done it for 60 years. So this is, the end of the world to get rid of it, but we can always go back to it if we need to, because it's not going to disappear and people will always need that at some point. So
you say your IG units. So do you have a reader to read what the glass is and stuff to figure out?
No, I don't want to.
Huh?
I don't want to do it. I try to avoid it at all costs. It's not something I want to be in. I could buy one. I mean, you can get them right off of, they're online anywhere you want to.
Yeah, the EDM reader.
Yeah, but why do I want it? Because I'm still going to debate with them on the match of the hue of the LOE, when the right light hits it, during a certain time of day.
It's either soft coat or hard coat, and you just.
I mean, I know, Tim. I do. I know.
Yeah. Because we do it all the time. And
what's the point if you're profiting $50 off a job that I'm spending as much time on as that I would profit $500? Why am I doing?
Well, yeah, if you're doing a lot of shower doors, that's fine. But
exactly,
like I say, we do everything. So and we have a contract with it.
And you're too old to change, right?
Yes, West Coast Bill Britt, you're too old to change.
Too old to change. Ah, that's a shame. Got it. I mean, I'm old, but I'm not too old to change. That's for sure.
Not old, guys. Just seasoned. Just a little more seasoned, not old.
That's right. I'm younger than I have ever been. If I'd only known how much fun it was getting older, I'd have still got older. Well, that was a good discussion. Man, it's been about an hour already, so
Time flies.
I think we solved some problems here. I don't know. Any last thoughts before we close it up tonight?
I got one question. How about 1/2-inch low iron satin? Has that been hard to get?
No, that's easy to get.
That's easy. Okay.
There's not.
I haven't tried to.
A lot of, not much call for it, so the suppliers have plenty of it.
Most of the ones we asked didn't have it recently, but we've asked for it one time in probably the last 6 months. So
Yeah. You got to use that 80-20 rule, and that's like in the 99-1 rule, because, I mean, when you're doing acid etch, low iron's the way to go, because that green really stands out. You know,
Like I say, all my showers lately have been low iron.
yeah, what a difference. It's beautiful.
I mean, because all the ones I look at is white tile, I tell them right off the bat.
Right off. Yeah.
You need low iron.
Absolutely.
And the dark ones, they really don't care. But
Yep, you're right. I can't believe this hour flew by.
Yeah. Fantastic. Hey, thanks for all your input, everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
It was great stuff. Thanks for bringing the questions, too. I mean, the questions are great because that kind of takes a little bit off my plate, as the moderator. I can just kind of listen and get the goodies, too. So,
I've been accused of having way too many questions, but
oh, man, not
I'm
here.
out there.
I
Not
keep asking
here.
them.
That's not going to happen.
I keep
Hello?
asking them.
I like it for the simple fact that's what makes the hour go by.
Yeah.
Because things you're asking, I think everybody has those same questions.
exactly.
In
Everybody
a
has
different
them. They just don't
form.
ask. Or they're
Yeah.
not here. So
I've already have several for, of course, I won't be on here next week, but I want to pick your brains about certain type of installations and hardware. So I'll save that for another day.
Awesome.
Sure.
Mike, if you need to send me an email, it's just bill@myShowerDoor.com about that oil rub bronze that you're having a problem with.
I appreciate that very much. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Christina, say hi to your dad. Haven't seen him.
Absolutely. Yeah, have them come. Tell them to come join us next week.
I sent out a few texts earlier to see if we could get some others that, like Joe Flynn and I don't know. Do you know Jason Ortiz out of Fort Lauderdale?
I've seen him around.
Yeah, you've seen him.
Yeah.
Great guy. He's going to visit
Cool.
somebody in a hospital. They're having a baby, so he couldn't make it. I'm trying to get some new blood to join us also.
Thanks, Bill. You're mad.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Have a great evening. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Thanks.
All right. Good night, guys.
Yeah.